Hi, Jen. Hi, Julie.
How's it going?
Good. How are you tonight?
Good. Although I think my headphones might do some technical things really quick.
Okay.
It's so that's fine.
I just can't believe we're all here. I feel like we should be frolicking out among the cherry blossoms.
Yeah, that's all right.
Disaster schmaster, like things are in bloom. Like,
It's hard to think disasters on a day like this for sure. I had
exactly.
my technical stuff earlier today, so I've sorted all that out.
All
My
right.
first Zoom meeting of the day is always a disaster, haha.
Yeah.
But
There's our disaster.
yeah, I managed on my phone, and then I force started my computer and did things, and look, here I am.
All right. Good. I have a feeling it wasn't Jen's first meeting, but who knows?
Yeah,
She's a busy, I'm not sure.
Zoom's a fun platform.
Yeah. Oh, I think you're muted, Jen, if you were chatting to us.
Nope, so many Zooms, so little time, and just agreeing. Like,
Indeed. All right. Looks like we have Joanna coming on. Okay. Let's see here. And I think we have Thea coming too.
Oh, join us twice.
Mhm. Hi, Joanna.
I'm also trying to make cornbread right now and managed to like get sour cream up my nose in the
Oh,
moment of trying to take my headphones off and plug
Oh.
them in. So it's a very Monday, Tuesday for me, I think. So
Right, right.
if
good probiotics
I'm very
recently.
much listening, I might just pop my camera off while I sort out my
Carry on,
entire
yeah.
mess. Yeah.
Viva cornbread for sure. Okay. All right. Well, why don't we just jump in, ladies? It's great to have you all here. And I know Thea was going to come and give a little bit of a report, but we could just launch in. I am just so excited to kind of run stuff by you all and see what you think, because I've just gotten really deep into this grant. I know Jen knows a lot about it. I think we talked about it before. Oh, let's see. Here's Thea. Maybe we'll let Thea jump in with her report. Oh, she came and she went. Darn it. Okay. Um, okay. Oh yeah, it's a technical kind of night. Technical failure.
There she is.
Oh, good. Okay. Let's see. And Joanna's can't seem to get off mute. So let's see if we can help her. Hi, Thea.
Hi.
How are you?
Yeah, it sent me places. Oh, I'm repairing frozen water line.
Oh,
And I thank my father for teaching me how to do that. But there were more issues than I wanted. It's a good thing I bought 100 feet of PBS pipe today.
Mm. That's from the ice storm damage, you said, right?
I'm gonna have to keep my video off because it's
Okay. Did you say you're repairing stuff from the ice storm? Or did I just imagine that in my head?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
correct. So I
Yeah.
had several water lines break on. And some are under my deck, so that means taking up my brand new deck boards again.
Oh, bummer. Okay, well, ladies, let's dive in. Thea, did you want to go first? I was just launching into this grant thing, which I hope you can stay for because I'd love your input. Do you want me to continue with that and then you give your update after, or when would you like to go?
Sure, continue, and then yeah, I'll give it afterwards. That's fine.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I was just letting everyone know, I'm going deeply, I'm doing the research for this big grant. Jen, are you working on this too, the Resiliency Hub one?
I'd love to pitch my efforts towards your application, but
Mhm.
without a space or anything, and you know, I
Yeah.
can't do much with it. But I like the idea of the grant and want to help, however, see it come
Okay.
to fruition.
Okay, super. Here's what, after digging deep, we have. This is this outrageous grant where you can order what they're calling typed packages, which is essentially it's a 40-foot Conex trailer, and it has everything inside of it that one would need. It's got communications, it has solar power, it has water, food, sanitation, army cots, tents, medical supplies. It comes with its own security feature. You can also order fencing for it to keep it secure. So first, I reached out to the Eugene Mission, and because we've done great partnership with them in the past, but given kind of the hope that OREM has about it, or I'm sorry, that Oregon Resiliency Emergence. Wait a minute, what does it stand for? Oregon Resilient Emergency Management, right? Given what they want us to do with it, it's not a good fit for Eugene Mission. And one of those things is that they're hoping to keep this as something that community uses on blue sky days. It's not just an emergency portal. And the point of that is to create continuity so that you know what to do when, everything gets scary. You can come and practice charging your phone with a solar system. You can learn from people that are fielding the trailer. So what that would look like, I think, for WCC is that we would just open it up and have our own events from there. So it's kind of it's a event space per se. So, but when we dive a little bit deeper, I was thinking about Ninkasi, they have land. I mean, we've got a lot of great businesses. But then when you think about best practices involving federal relief spaces or like anything having to do with emergency stuff, we can't really deal with that in a legal and liable sense because, say we did convince Ninkasi to have 3 of these Conex trailers in their parking lot for us. Well, if those things are damaged, FEMA can't pay Ninkasi back because it's not publicly owned land. So really the only way, after digging into this and going through all the machinations with OREM and also just, legal part of it as it would affect WCC, we've got to just find some publicly owned land. And so I feel like there's a really strong connection with the city of Eugene. We've, as an organization, whether it was the, Blair Housing Cooperative, or since my time, navigated with the city on public use spaces like the free wall that we built, the murals that we painted. We have kind of a history in terms of like public use space with them. So I think that it's a salient ask. It's a big one. And then from there, it's a big one. Today I met with the Lane County Emergency Office to kind of talk through that. I was hoping that they might be able to support us, and their efforts are really located in areas that are especially vulnerable with a different grant, an EPA grant. So they're like doing stuff in Bonita, Cottage Grove. So and they referred me back to the city because when you look at our boundaries in Whitaker, it's not a lot of county land. So I have a map. I was just figuring like we should throw the map up on the screen and start thinking about where we can give, like, I want to have a short list that I want to give to the city in this huge, massive letter I'm working on. So those are my thoughts. Anybody, what y'all think?
So city owns WJ between 6th and 7th. It's the sculpture garden of WJ.
Oh,
It's not really used as a park.
Right.
The issue would be there's no parking around it. Skinner's Butte has more land on the other side of the safe sleep site. Okay, by
Okay,
the Conestoga Hut.
hold on, Thea, you're coming up with so many ideas. I need another piece of paper here. Hold on. Okay, that's where I was thinking. Let's get the map up here. And then Julie's
Not
asking,
me.
how
I would
much,
never do that.
what?
But you can't use private property at all because Ninkasi does have their whole welding yard that's across from Better Living Room
Yeah, we just can't. Yeah.
next to the Mission. Okay.
Julie, the trailers are 40 feet long. And 3 of the 40-foot trailers supports 250 people. So ideally, if we could get clusters, but it is a lot of, it's a lot of space. If Jen and I could have figured out how to buy
The
that
city,
darn building, we could have put 6 of them there.
And there is a
so the
possibility.
city also owns
Yeah, you're cutting out. Mm,
the city owns land behind Lincoln. I'm gonna put it in the chat.
okay. All right. Can you all see that screen? This is like let's see, we didn't want the zoning. We want public land. Yeah, public land. It's the dark purple. And I can't figure out what some of these spots are. Oh, okay. Thea's putting something in the chat. Let me grab that. City owns land on Lincoln at base of Skinner Butte. It's an EPD space now. Is that like,
It is the purple. Let me look. I'm not seeing it. It's in blue still.
it's in the space you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah, it's at Third. It's behind Bounce and Cider Works.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Okay.
it's where the EPD their old drug unit used to work out of there. I don't know what they do there now.
Okay. I'll look into that. That would be a good one.
There's also there's a totally trashed old produce distribution warehouse on the other side in Nkasi that I don't think is publicly owned, but although it looks like it's in that Railroad Boulevard area, it's just right across the street. The building's basically a tear down, but they only wanted 150,000 for it. If the city owns it, they might be amenable to that, and it's basically good as a gated lot. But
Let's see.
also,
So let's see, if you're standing at, you said is it across from Ninkasi if you were like going down to the Mission, or?
so if you are coming out of the parking lot from the Better Living Room parking lot,
Yeah.
and were to turn right towards the railroad,
Yep.
and then it's in that weird
Yep.
zone of this side of the tracks.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's part of the old Tyree Oil.
Oh, that's right.
Who owned it.
So, yeah, end of Blair at first is, okay. Okay, those are really good suggestions.
What is this chunk at the end of Van Buren Street, kind of north of West First? So there's 2 pieces there. R2 is to the north of them. There's a square piece just to the south of the R2 section.
mhm.
Then just past the end of Van Buren. It looks like several lots and then a big piece. I can't place what those are.
Yeah, I can't either. And mind you, this map is from 2011. It's the earliest we could get. This is
Okay.
in this weird.
That is the River House.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
of course.
brilliant. That's right.
Never mind. Thanks, Thea.
Right.
Is the purple city-owned land?
That's what the icon is showing. Yeah, let's see. I'll zone out a little bit. See, we've got down here, we've got
Like the indigo purple, not the lavender purple.
well said. Yep. Yep. You can see the little code down here where my cursor is.
Hard to see the difference between special area
Okay.
historic.
Isn't that strange? Yeah, it's so similar.
So
Meaning
maybe the River House is special
So-
area historic.
So the plot I was talking about between 6th and 7th is between Washington and Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
It's right there on 7th. It is public land. So that's that whole strip there.
Mm-hmm.
They just took the fences down. The dog park's going to be open tomorrow
Yeah.
between 5th and 6th. And then you have grassland between 5th and the tracks. And then you have the basketball courts and the horseshoe trip stuff between 3rd and 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I want to know is at the end of Van Buren on 1st, that is Head Start. That says public land. That is where our community center is.
Oh, that's right. Back to that.
Different but similar, new version of that problem. Maybe 4J's moving, right?
Oh,
Aren't they
did
kind of? I thought that their Monroe campus, regardless, their Monroe campus might be a good ask,
mm-hmm.
just because it has a lot of parking lot.
Okay. But if they're moving, what?
Then I'm not sure what's going to happen with that
Okay.
property.
Okay.
And it's like I think they were originally going to move into the UF building. Now that's going to be City Hall, and so who knows if they're actually ever going to move. But that administrative building has a front side parking lot, and then the back half of it backs up to the Rose Garden.
Okay.
And it's big enough I could totally see them letting us maybe putting them along the edge of the path, and so it's right near the park, but it's still kind of separate from. There is an alt ed school housed in there still, I think. I have not been a teacher for 6 years, so but that, I think that's in that indigo public land. I should not be on my phone for this. Dorinda, would you be?
You're correct. It is. You are correct. It is. And Willamette Family Center is right there on the right-hand side. So that's another huge help.
Okay. Yeah, I guess, I mean, this feels almost like when I was petitioning the city for the mural spaces, like we all got together on the art team for Whitaker Community Council and we all chose the areas we wanted, and then they just, the stuff we were able to do is in no way really where we wanted. But so I was just feeling kind of like that, because I think all the good ideas we have, it's really just I mean, maybe I should just give them this map and just say, you say where, because I don't know.
That big open space that Jen just pointed out behind the old 4J building where it's a big field, it's not park, it's not mowed, it's not maintained. People kind of use it off-leash parkish.
Mhm.
And if 4J is moving out, that seems great. There is a big parking lot there. It
Yeah,
is. Yeah.
It
Maybe.
may not be I think I realized when I said that the city had offered, I think, to give them eWeb first, and they were supposed to do it, and now I don't think now it's going to be City Hall, right? It's changing. I don't know. But 4J might just also be amenable to it. I mean, getting a decision past their board is
yeah.
fun. But I think that there's some potential there. And then, yeah, there's also like, there's an unmowed lot, like, I guess, south of that 4J building. That's when you're talking about, yeah.
Yep.
But I think,
I guess I'm
and
thinking north of that building.
So
But-
north of that building, we tried to get a dog park put there,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
the city told us that 4J owned it. So we tried for a dog park there many, many, many years ago. And they said, oh, no, 4J owns that, and that's why we couldn't have a dog park there. But I don't know why they wouldn't allow a trailer there. But their other spot where the PL is, that's all Skinner Butte Park there, and that
Mhm.
does back up to all the safe sleep sites there and the garden, and there is plenty of space there as well.
Yeah, that was really kind of where I thought to focus asking, because we already have a public use granted there for our free wall. So it just feels like that whole section may be helpful, but one other thing that came out of this grant seminar and the whole researching, there's all these workshops you have to go to, and it was funny because the question of our unhoused care for them came up, and it was kind of interesting. The person from OREM, was very clear in saying that although we have great need for resources for our unhoused population, this is primarily for people that are housed that will become unhoused in a crisis. And so that's also an interesting thing to think about in terms of placement, because I like the idea of co-locating this with the safe sleep spot, because so hard to say all those S's, safe sleep spot. Because I just feel like it's a really interesting place to be, resourcing in an emergency with folks that are used to, like, could give us all some tips for,
and Lane County isn't looking to put any at the fairgrounds. Is the fairgrounds just too contentious right now?
it is too contentious. Yeah, and again, it's so strange. I thought for sure that the Lane County Resiliency Coalition would be like, oh, let's work together. That's great. That's what I was mentioning. They're focused on this other massive EPA grant that's allowing them huge infrastructure shifts for Veneta, Cottage Grove, Mapleton. They're like going out to areas that are really vulnerable. And
I'm just surprised the Red Cross isn't doing it, because the event center gets used as an evacuation shelter all the time.
mhm.
And I guess that's also a good potential to ask is, what is the likelihood that WCC would step into that role, in case of evacuations? If the fairgrounds being contentious and we happen to be able to sleep 200 folks, as not to scare anyone off, just like,
Mhm.
that could either be good or that could be overwhelming. So,
Well, let me see. Let me pick apart a little bit that I think I hear you say that if they would, that would be a space, but for these resiliency hubs. But I think that for our community with so many elderly and disabled, it's just too far to ask them to go. But then you raised a second point, I think, which was interesting, that like us deploying it ourselves.
mhm.
Right, exactly, right. That is going to be tricky. There is a side piece to that OREM, in that grant you may have seen, we can also apply for AmeriCorps Rare, which is a staff person that would come and work with us in the Whitaker for 1 year, which would like help us figure out how to do it better and what infrastructures to do. So I would lean on that person to kind of like train us all.
One issue with the rare thing is that you have to be able to provide a desk and a computer.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jen. That's not going to work for us. Okay.
The Water Conservation District is applying for one, and they're going to give me them a little, because I don't have
Okay.
kind of either.
That's huge. Okay.
Yeah, it's
We need a building. Okay.
I
Thea,
know. Well,
you,
the thing is like, I know that the council talked about this, but the it is if the Whitaker Community Council wants to own the building, like I'm absolutely fine with that. I think it would be good for it to be a publicly held thing, and obviously like I would like to be able to lease it for very cheap for bringing the donor for 10 years or something.
Mhm.
But this grant is large enough because the cash value of those is so high
Mhm.
that if the Whitaker Community Council wanted to own it, I could approach my donor and see if she thought that this could work for matching funds. So that would be a possibility, and I'm just kind of throwing it.
Mm,
you
that's
know,
interesting. Okay. Like Thea, sorry, just come right to you. So Jen, I think you say, like, you're saying that the strength of the cash value of whatever grant I can pull together from them would match the donors
yeah,
kind of thing.
because
Okay, let's talk about that in a minute. That's huge. Thea, I'm sorry, dear, what you got?
So a couple thoughts, thinking
Yeah.
about the river, don't mean to be devil's advocate here, but if we have a disaster and it has to do with the river, you might not want it at the 4J lot or at the Skinner's Butte lot.
Right.
So you might need to be inland more. The sisters that we used to rent the parking lot from at Second and Van Buren, which is next to Ninkasi's Better Living Room. It's that parking lot that is tied into it's the old auto body place. There's lots of places there. That lot has been for sale forever and ever. I don't know if there's a potential to raise enough money for Whitaker Community Council to get that lot,
Hmm.
or if they would do something where they would carry the paper, because they don't want the lot anymore. And it has been for sale for at least 3 years now, maybe longer.
it's trackside auto you're talking about.
Yeah.
The DEQ remediation for that site is estimated at like over 2 million.
Say that again, the what?
The DEQ
Oh,
remediation.
That's funny because I asked someone and they said it was totally clear. And I'm like, there's no way that land's totally clear. It's been an auto body shop and next to the railroad forever.
Yeah, it's just I just know about the trackside lot. There was the empty lot that was leased by trackside also. I used to work with that guy's wife, so I happen to know a little bit more about it than
Right.
but yeah, if there's some things about changing use there that is just like pretty, but the empty lot to the side, if they would separate that, that would be great. I could definitely see that working. I think the actual trackside lot is super fun, fantastic.
Yeah.
hmm.
But I am thinking about, because I'm looking at this blue, that is Head Start. That is where our original building is. The other blue is Sladden Park.
Yep.
So I'm a little confused by that because Lane County now owns that building. They own Head Start and all the property for Whitaker Elementary is.
Hmm.
So
And Gilbert Gardens is zoned residential on that map, I think.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, it's like,
So weird. Yeah, I mean, this map could just be completely outdated, but it was the best that, we could just at least talk through. Okay. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's like this grant is just kind of a candy shop of things that we could ask for. If we can't find, or I'll take what we've all talked about tonight, get it into like a punch list of our asks, and then send the asks with this map and then my huge whole letter to the city tomorrow, and we'll see what happens because it's already been kicked around from emergency management, then Lane County, and it's yeah. I as much as I want to believe we could do this, I'm just not sure that unless I mean if we owned our own land, it would be just a slam dunk. So I'll, okay, so I'm being Miss Negative Nelly Pants on my own thing, but um, if this doesn't work and the city can't play with us on it, then I'd like to maybe pick each other's brains about what we could ask for, because there's a whole, you can just start asking for other stuff. And this would be amazing if we just had generators for people to like charge phones. We could ask for solar banks. We could ask for, all these things. But again, then we still have the same problem of, okay, we're going to try to jam pack it into the Jurassic storage way over there by whatever. We just kind of have the same problems with, we don't have space to store it. So
What about the storage place on Railroad? Just renting a spot, it's sketchy,
yeah, we couldn't get any space there just for our own stuff. So
Because yeah, I
and
have a storage, but yeah, it's
the the purpose of the grant too is just I didn't even consider it, how they were thinking about it. They want us to be able to just open the doors and like train people about what we're going to do, and then the OREM is going to actually send representatives back in perpetuity once a year to kind of like meet with us, talk about our successes.
I have two more suggestions. John Hammer owns an empty lot at like just shy of 299 Garfield. It's right next to Oregon Woods. There's an easement through Oregon Woods's lot, but I think he just holds it onto it for some weird feud with Rick, which I understand, having worked for the man for 10 years, bless his heart. But that I could see John Hammer possibly being, just as a massive landlord, someone who would be good to talk to. And then I had another idea that was, and I'm forgetting what it is, so I will stop talking until I remember.
Okay.
Has anyone actually worked with John Hammer? Because I've rented from him, and he's a joy.
Yeah, it's
Just that in a recorded meeting, he is a delight.
at least you
Mhm.
record the modulator for fun.
But he might have something we could use. I mean, anything can happen. But yeah, I had fun with John.
Yeah, that's doesn't sound good, Julie. But I think diving into it the last couple of days, I don't think we could sustain the legal liability from renting from somebody. And we could partner with another CBO that owns space, but I think we want to just be, it's hard enough to like navigate with the city, but a private ownership is just
What about the police station across from the Mission? That was the other.
yeah,
That space was actually supposed to be designed.
There isn't one
for community resource.
That's the place that's going in first in my list. I'm glad you reminded me. That's such an interesting place because it's a training facility. It's where, they take us out in CERT and they teach us how to like climb through these falling down buildings and put out fires. And it's vast. It's so much space there. You can see it from the bridge. So that is the first spot to ask for. That's on my list. The second one,
And if Train Song joins us, that's Train Song neighborhood.
it's a bummer because it's outside of us technically, but you're right. If we join up like that, and look, anybody can walk that far. I mean, anybody. Hopefully, people could go that far if they needed.
Well, it's on bus routes as well. So
Mhm.
if the buses are running. Now, the other thing at the base of Skinner's Butte, just beyond the safe sleep side, says you're heading west towards, when you're looking at the map here. If you go down Washington Jefferson where the white section is,
Mhm.
and then you head to the east, those are all city parks and they're administrative buildings there.
Really?
And they have portable trailers there. You don't really notice them because you're always looking at the baseball field and the kids' playground, but it's directly across from that $1 million playground. And those are all city offices there. And there are parking lots there. There are places but we are still close to the river. So you'd have to look at whether it was in the 100-year floodplain.
That's a really interesting. Are you talking about right here, Thea? Can you see the
Correct.
cursor?
That is all city buildings that are all right
Okay.
there. And
How
it's for
interesting.
parks and I don't even know what they have in there, but if you go by, you'll see a lot of park employees there.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing on the other side of the bridge, which is not in Whitaker, but we have the Parks and Open Space Maintenance Building right there off of Roosevelt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's an
So that's a
interesting
huge
one.
lot there. And if you're going to go out of the Whitaker on the north side of Railroad Chambers, that is county owned land. It is one little triangle that the county went in and put a concrete plot on that people go and camp on quite frequently. They have a little section there that's gated, but that is a little section of county land. I'm not seeing it on this map here.
Mm-hmm.
Where is that?
It's on the north side of Chambers and Roosevelt. It's right by Whitaker Tattoo there
Oops.
and the little porn shop.
So,
So go down where Northwest Expressway
yep, down here. Oh, like
Railroad
there?
comes up. It's above the
Oh,
X and the P, the E, the X and the P in Northwest Expressway in this map. There is a
okay.
vacant lot there that is supposedly owned by the county.
Wow. Oh
I
my
can't
God.
see your key. I can't see the key to see what colors things are.
Oh, the pink, let's see, what is the pink? Community or commercial? What does that mean? Let's see. Community. Yeah, community commercial. Okay, so that's probably what this, actually, that looks like a darker color.
It's darker
Um,
pink.
yeah, is that agriculture?
We need the pale pink. It could be agricultural,
Yeah, could be. Okay. Thea,
but I don't know. That's a little more.
I want to take you out for coffee and let's drive around and look at these. Um, yeah, that's an interesting corner up there. If it's owned by county, then I could go back to the county and say, hey, we found a spot. So,
It is
um,
owned by county. It's across. So on the other side of that, county has put in a veterans camp
mhm.
on the other side of Northwest Expressway. And it's the same color. So if they put a veterans camp in there, why can't they have
Right.
it's not in Whitaker technically, but close enough.
Okay. Awesome. You ladies rock. Let's see. I'm gonna stop sharing this.
Can I
And
toss one more grant thought just out there? And I'm not sure if you're in on this, but have you heard about the health related social needs provision money coming down from the CCOs?
yes.
So yeah, just wanted to make sure that everyone knew there was $113 million.
No,
For
I think this is the one I sent to you, Thea, to look at. It's the one that you have to align with a health provider, essentially, and you're picking up Medicaid services for.
They also have a grant if you're just, so what they've realized is that there are organizations that are providing health related social needs. So like, because I do the double up food bucks,
Mhm.
they're like, are you one? And I'm like, I don't know if I'm one. But referral agencies also, but the fact that you were hosting vaccine clinics and things like that, I think
Mhm.
very puts you in line with it. And what it allows you to do is just bill Medicaid directly. But
Yes.
there's a great capacity building grant that will pay for someone for 18 months. It'll pay for the, software for Unite Us. It'll pay for all sorts of fun things. So I just kind of that in combination with this could maybe be leveraged because they want to primarily, it's folks who are at risk of losing housing or current recently displaced or transitional between being unhoused. And so they want, in the way that the Connect boxes are not necessarily for that community, this funding really is. And so if you want to get together and just drink too much coffee and brainstorm a really complicated plan, I'd be happy to. So
Sure. Yeah, because I'm trying to find it. I've got like 12 different grants open on my, I'm just going blind and kind of crazy with these too many of them. But I know I've seen that. I think I sent it to Thea like what do you think about this? But it seemed really just too complex. So yeah, if you've got some ideas, Jen, let's put our heads together. Anyway, I was trying to like stick with stuff that braids together with our disaster resiliency program. But when you think about the adverse effects of climate change and everything happening, I mean, like everything is just so related anyway that it's all the same. So
And I think they're rolling out some of they have different rollouts for the actual service provision types of funding, but then there's just this capacity building to become an organization that can either provide health related social needs or refer people to resources.
okay. Thank you.
I think that the disaster resiliency is going to be in there somewhere.
Indeed.
In particular because of the transitional housing thing. So even if it is like, well, actually we only do this when we scale because there's an emergency, you are suddenly dealing with a population, if any of them are on Medicaid, that then fall into their priority needs. Anyways, I don't want to distract.
No, yeah, I got you. Yeah, it's a good point. The other one that I'm trying to figure out here is this healthy homes one. Wrote to Julie and I'm trying to just like track down anybody is a contractor. Let me find this one. Oh, I've got too many open on my desk. Okay. Let me forget that for now and just explain it. It's really wild. It's like the subcategories within it could be so tied to disaster resiliency. You can be focused on like helping people cool their roofs with green rooftops. You can deal with, upgrading so that they're not prone to smoke inhalation. Like there's so many subcategories that we could pull from that. So yeah, I don't think people realize how much like just goes into just trying to can we even apply? Do we have the people? I don't know. So, okay. Thank you, folks. This is good. I'm going to just put all this in one document and send it tomorrow and we'll see what happens. And if we can't get a spot, then like I said, maybe we can kind of rethink it and select things that we want that we could just store at people's houses, whatever centers and use them when it gets crazy. So, okay. Any last thoughts on that before Thea gives her update?
Look at Fur Lane on Maury Jacobs Park on the very west end is the soccer field.
Okay.
There's a big parking lot there.
Okay.
And there's also a stage area in Maury Jacobs Park that has concrete, but it's sewer and stuff. You're probably not going to be able to block that at the end of Polk. You wouldn't be able to block that space, but they have stages and stuff. But I don't know why you couldn't have a trailer at the end of the parking lot.
Okay, it's a good spot. Thank you.
Still in Whitaker.
It's a good idea. All right. Take it away, Thea.
Okay, so Tom and Tad, who own Bruns Red Apple, want to contribute to our neighborhood. And one of the things they have been hearing a lot of issues is that a lot of their customers can't get their prescriptions. They can't, Walgreens is closed or it's this and that. And so they were talking and they said, we could give up this floor space. And they wanted to know if we knew any pharmacists. So if you go into the back of their store where they have all their sodas and stuff, where the old produce section used to be, they're like, we could turn this whole section into a pharmacy and work with a pharmacist. So I'm going to reach out to the people at River Road Bi-Mart who opened their own pharmacy in Junction City and say, hey, you guys have the capacity to do another one in Whitaker. But if we know anybody else that would be willing, and then I don't know if there's any grants to help provide some of the funding to change the storefront for it so that it could happen, any tie-ins in for that, because it's going to be an expense. Their biggie was, they were like, we won't have a drive-through for people. They're going to actually have to come. We won't have a walk-up window because they have to get to their produce section behind the store. So they would have to come into the store, but I guess they've had just a lot of people recently that are just like, we're having problems getting our medication.
Oh,
McCoy's Crestwell Pharmacy are the only other kind of folks I know who are still staying like independent pharmacists.
Like, yeah, River Road. I will talk to them because that's where I go is River Road Health Mart. And they were going to approach them, but they're advertising for help. They don't have enough help even for their own pharmacy. They're so slammed because they picked up so many people.
hmm. It's so nice to hear them talking about expanding because they just struggle so much and always, I feel like they're always on the edge of leaving the community, which would be a devastating loss.
They are always on the edge. And what happened this weekend is I took Chief Skinner in last week and said, you have to figure out how to help these people. And so they put a community policing car in the lot and they had 3 days with no shoplifting for the first time in years. Their last quarter, they lost so much money. It's the first time that they've really lost a lot of money from shoplifters.
Yeah.
And so just trying to figure out and employees get hurt and they just,
Yeah.
it's been really rough. So
Yeah, I saw the car there yesterday and I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to hear if this is working.
it is working. So they're going to pull the car and then they'll bring it back in a few more days and put it somewhere else.
That's excellent.
So, and it's sad that we've come to that, but
Right. The power of a just empty car, like how it can change something. That's weird.
My only concern is if I am in Rotary, and so I saw the head of Weimar talk about why they had to close their pharmacies. And it sounds like it might just be nearly impossible for an independent pharmacy to really kind of make it unless they're in a rural area, because then they're the only ones, because of a weird adjustment that happens, like when Walmart decides to make Prozac and can then sell it to itself for $2, the pharmacies have to like give back some of the difference because of Medicaid things. I don't, and that was the gist of it. So I think that is great, but I also am curious if like that might not, if they have other ideas too about how to get that, because I'm just worried that it might not be financially feasible without
right.
some.
I don't know if that's why I was going to reach out to the pharmacists that were at River Road Weimar, started their own pharmacy in Junction City and thought, hey, would you be willing to come into a small neighborhood and see and compete? They might not.
Yeah.
McCoy's in Cottage Grove is fabulous. And I think it might be the Crestwell pharmacy folks might be the same people. So they might kind of be at a scale where if they have two, maybe they could handle a third, would, if River Road doesn't.
Yeah, I'll ask Brian when I'm in there. I'm supposed to go today and I forgot to.
All right. That's fabulous, Thea. Thank you. Anybody have any thoughts about our upcoming event? I think I have a couple updates. Go ahead, Julie.
What day is it again?
May 11th.
We have to reach out to WJ. We have to reach out to Parks and make sure that you have your space cleaned up.
Okay. Our permit is secured.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely exists. And we just need to go a couple days ahead of time and sign the permit, pay the $50 key or give a check for the key deposit, get our keys. I don't know who to talk to about cleaning. The thing I was going to say, and maybe you have this covered already, Doriandra, if it's focused on wildfire awareness, do we have somebody coming to talk about fire awareness, wildfire in particular, any of that?
Yes, I'm working. Let's see, that's some of my updates for you. Did I tell you guys this? So far we have Friends of Trees coming to talk about that kind of thing, fire safety around your house, trees that are good for erosion. I think we talked about other, and then yeah, the fire department is I'm trying to figure out how we can get more engagement from them. It was really hard last time we couldn't. So let me add that to the list. We need to get people talking about fire safety.
I can send you Michael Kevin's, he's the fire chief. I can send you his email if you want.
I would love that. Thank you, Thea.
If you want someone from Fusey, which is firefighting collective, I know if you figure out who you want from Wildfire Land, then I can probably find someone
And
to.
you know, I mean, folks, feel free to like use your contacts and like let's just roll them in. Let's pack this thing as much as we can. Or just, yeah, like you said, send me some contact info and I'm happy to reach out. But I love that. We should have fire department and then wildfire. What'd you call them, Jen? Foozy? What does that stand for?
Oh, what does Fusey stand for? I could look it up. They're like an ecological fire cooperative, and so they try to use like that some fires okay, you know,
Mhm.
more prescriptive burning and things like that. But also just yeah, not as commercialized. But Tim Inglesby is a good policy nerd and a nice guy.
Okay. Love it.
And yeah, and there's like I definitely know a lot of folks who do firefighting and like that's what I was going to reach out to for the weird Russian MREs for the cooking contest is but maybe not all the best public speakers, but yeah, if you have like a little summary kind of what the things I
Yep,
can
sure.
think on who might be the best person to ask from my contacts.
Sure. And if y'all are willing to do that, I'll send kind of like a little cover letter that just talks about what we're doing and then invites people to participate. And then you could copy paste, do whatever. But you know, if you want to do that, that's great. I can do that. Yeah, yeah. And I love that we would just do that whole speaker education thing, like Julie just put in the chat. We really want to you know, we have someone that wants to come explain how to do rocket stoves. So yeah, last time it was just kind of like scatterdash, but we have some more time and we should just get like a real schedule going. And I think this time we should utilize more of that space. We should put the speakers thing on one side, the band over on one side, and just try to really amp it up with more event notification and get the city more involved. And it'd be really fun if they could pull a fire truck down there. It'd be cool. I wrote to the ladies that come and do the CPR demonstrations, so hopefully we'll have a booth. We'll have a bunch of dummies around and you can sing Staying Alive and or whatever the current song is now. Right, touch a truck. I want to touch a truck. That's cute. There we go. Was that like a slogan?
It was an outreach thing for kids
That's
so
so
that kids
cute.
could get excited about fires and meeting firemen and firefighters and getting to touch the fire truck and maybe climb up in it. It's maybe not so relevant for wildfire awareness, but fire safety in general,
Indeed.
and would maybe draw in families. I don't know.
It would be so cool if
I have no idea if that's still a thing.
they could drive it down onto the
I have to talk to the fire marshal about my Art in the Parks thing anyway. I could ask them that question. They're probably not the people. I bet it's the fire department directly. But
So
Okay.
I was multitasking and I just wrote, I'm just writing Chief Kevin right now. And I've basically said, we're having a disaster preparedness event on Saturday, May 11th, asking if they have people that can come speak and share about fire safety and maybe bring a truck and allow kids to explore.
Perfect.
Anything else you guys want in it?
That's fabulous, Thea. Yeah, or just can they talk about it? Did
Yeah, I have that on here to come
you
speak.
got it?
That's my first thing.
I got it.
Maybe.
Okay, thank
And
you.
maybe bring a truck and allow kids and families to get excited or whatever.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you. Okay.
And I've CC'd you in it, so you'll get the response.
Love it. Love that quick action. Thank you.
If I don't do it now, it's gonna go out of my brain.
I know, me too. I got so many things.
Would you want anyone from El Rapa to talk about air quality and kind of what to do when the
Yeah.
smoke gets?
Absolutely.
find someone. And also, so I'm not trying to be a naysaying nerd right now, but the fire engines are different than the ones they bring out on Wildfire.
Right, much different.
The city ones are way cooler. So I'm also still 100% in support of bringing that.
Touch a
But
truck.
if you can get a city one, I can probably get a Type 3
Ooh,
possibly to show, and we could show the difference maybe. Um,
so cool.
so just because they're little, and it's like, but be able to talk about like this has to be little because it's got to be. Yeah, my boyfriend is like hiding in the background right now because he's a wildland firefighter, and it's like, "Do you want to do this?" And he's like, "No, no, I don't." But
Come on.
uh, and now he's like, "You said, well, they just said even someone in firefighting gear," and I was like, "We can dress up in Nomex." But yeah, I think it would be kind of cool actually to if we can't get the big truck because the big truck is great and shiny and gets the city buy-in, and so I think that's a really wonderful idea. And then kind of I can see if one of the engine bosses I know could come down and talk for 5 minutes with their engine.
Fabulous.
Let people
Fabulous. Good, good. Okay, we're gonna have a nice little group of folks, and everybody that comes and has a booth, we're gonna engage them in like speaking this time too. So we'll have someone from CERT talking, and maybe Sierra Anderson can chat a little bit with us, and we'll just it's gonna be so fun. Awesome. All right, my friends, thank you so much for tonight. Let's all keep our body parts crossed that we can get some land to put these trailers on. So all fingers crossed, okay? All right.
I also asked if he had contacts for forestry people to come.
Thank you. Perfect.
So, I mean, they all meet. They all support each other, so.
Yeah, it's a collective for sure. Okay.
I could reach out to Kelly Shadwick about getting it clean, making sure the WJ is clean
Oh, would you?
before the event, but
Okay.
we're gonna want to make sure I'll catch the park ambassadors and have them put it on their thing because they're really good about making sure stuff gets cleaned up.
Thank you.
This
That's
needs to be on their calendar, so I'll do that right now.
that's perfect. Thank you,
Do
Thea.
you have a blurb that you're sending out to people?
I'll get it. I'll send it to y'all tomorrow.
Okay, when you send it to me, then I'll send it to her and say, Kelly, we need to make sure that the trash cans are empty and ready to go.
Okay. Perfect. All righty. Thank y'all. See you soon.